As a pediatrician, I see parents like you in my office every single day, trying to do the absolute best for their kids. And I love that. But I want to talk about something I'm seeing more and more of, a trend that has some real hidden dangers, and that's kids' supplements. So let's get into it.
So you might be wondering, just how common is this, really? Well, check this out. A recent study found that more than a third of all kids and teens are taking some kind of dietary supplement. That's a huge number, right? It really shows a massive shift in how we're thinking about our kids' health.
Okay, so what's behind this huge jump? Why are so many parents turning to supplements for their kids? Well, it's not just about, plugging a few nutritional gaps anymore. The whole landscape has changed, and a few specific products are really driving this trend. It's interesting because, yeah, about 1 in 5 kids is still taking that good old-fashioned daily multivitamin. But that's not where the real growth is. We're seeing this explosion in single supplements. Things like melatonin for sleep, that one's huge. And get this, the use of probiotics and fiber has more than doubled recently. It really tells me parents are trying to tackle very specific problems. Okay, now here's where the data gets super interesting. When you break it down by age and gender, a pretty surprising pattern emerges. It really seems to show that as kids get older, the pressures and priorities for boys and girls start to look very, very different. So, when kids are little, it's actually boys who tend to be on more supplements. But then, boom, the teenagers hit and it completely flips. Adolescent girls start taking the lead, often with things like iron or zinc. And what about the boys? Well, they're starting to reach for bodybuilding products. You can almost see the social pressures and developmental changes playing out right there in the data, can't you?
So I get it. Looking at this, it all seems pretty harmless, right? I mean, these are sold everywhere. It's just well-meaning parents trying to do right by their kids. And I see it every day. But this is where we have to be careful. The research points to a really serious reason for caution, and honestly, it's something I worry about in my own practice. And the thing is, the danger isn't always written on the label in big, bold letters. You see these things on the shelf at the pharmacy or the grocery store, and you just assume, hey, it's over the counter, it must be totally safe. But that is a huge misconception, and unfortunately, it's just not true. And here's the absolute bottom line, the thing you really need to hear. Unlike prescription drugs, these supplements are not held to the same standards. They don't have to go through tough testing to prove they're safe or that they even work. And the study authors are clear. Some of these products have been directly linked to real harm in kids. I'm talking about severe allergic reactions, heart problems, and yes, even poisonings that can be life-threatening. So let's just take one example to really bring this home. The one researchers were most concerned about, melatonin. I mean, it is everywhere now, right? It's become the go-to for sleep for kids and adults. But because it's so common, it's creating a very specific and, frankly, a very scary new risk. The problem is, melatonin often comes in these yummy gummies or chewables that they look exactly like candy to a little kid. And because of that, we are seeing an absolutely staggering rise in accidental overdoses. Think about this. Calls to poison control for kids getting into melatonin have shot up over 500% in the last decade. 500%. That means thousands of kids are landing in the ER every year. And an overdose isn't just a long nap. It can mean severe vomiting and even dangerously slow breathing. For a small child, that's a true medical emergency. Okay, so with all this information, what's the big takeaway? What do I really want you as a parent or caregiver to know? Look, my goal here isn't to scare you. It's to give you the information you need so you can make the absolute safest choices for your family. The researchers really stress that the number one thing we can do is just be more aware. So, a few simple steps. First, please remember, natural does not automatically mean safe, especially for kids. And second, and this is so important, you have to treat these like any other medication. Store them up high, out of reach, maybe even in a locked cabinet. Because just knowing the danger exists is the first, most powerful step you can take to protect your child. So look, the next time you're in the store and you reach for that bottle of supplements, I just want you to pause for a second and think about this. What's really in there? And is it necessary? The safest move always is to talk to your child's doctor, to me, or someone like me, before you start anything new. That's how we can be a team to make sure we're really doing what's not just best for our kids, but what's safest too.